Hello and welcome back to Spiritual Morsels. In the last week's episode, we saw that when a person doesn't have any idea about what is God's plan for his life, what should he do, and how do we enter into God's purpose for our lives. Today, we will look into a situation where a person would say that I have an idea about God's purpose for my life, but I don't have a clear picture. In the Bible, we see that in the life of Joseph. Joseph had an idea about God's plan for his life. Where did he get this idea from? He saw a dream. In fact, he saw a dream twice, and he shares his dream with his brothers. Now we see that when he shares his dream with his brothers or with his family, the Bible says that his brothers hated him. And the second time he saw a dream, when he shared his dream with his brothers, it says they hated him more. I just want to pause here. Friends, I just want to tell you something. You see, if you start noticing that people around you, your friends or your family, or anybody, who's been very good friends with you, where everything was okay till yesterday, and all of a sudden you feel that they have started alienating you, they started hating you, they look at you with disgust. Let me tell you that they have started sensing that there is something great that is coming your way. God is going to do something great in your life. And that's why the spirit of jealousy that is in them is making them behave with you that way. You just relax. Don't get intimidated by their behavior and stop chasing your dreams. Please continue chasing your dreams, trusting in the Lord, and He will take you forward. Now let's go back into the life of Joseph. Joseph was sold as a slave by his very brothers when he was only a 17-year-old boy. He goes into the house of Potiphar, and there he finds favor in the eyes of Potiphar, and he gets promoted. And Joseph starts thinking, yeah, looks like I am in the center of God's will. Everything is happening according to my dream, so all is well. But then he's thrown into the prison. Now, it's very interesting. The Bible says that the Lord was with Joseph in the prison. Friends, if you are striving for God's purpose to be fulfilled in your lives, let me tell you, you might have to face situations where you face like you are trapped in a prison. But God's presence will be with you even in the prison-like situation. So be strong in the Lord and continue chasing your dreams. Now let's go back to Joseph's life. When Joseph continues to stay in the prison, when he is having this conversation with the chief cupbearer of the Pharaoh, it looks like he stops chasing his dreams. It looks like he wants to just quit and go back to where he came from. Just look at what he's telling the cupbearer. He says, when you get out, please tell Pharaoh about me and get me out of this prison. And then he explains why he wants to get out. He says, I was just kidnapped from the land of the Hebrews. I don't belong here. I belong there. He just wants to go back to his father. He is thinking of going back to a mediocre life. Now here it becomes interesting because we see two contrasting ideas. The first idea, Joseph's idea. He says, I don't belong to Egypt. I am a Hebrew. I need to go back to the land of the Hebrews. And here, God's idea. God says, you are the ruler of Egypt. Entirely contradictory ideas. Now, God notices that if Joseph gets out of the prison right now, he's going to go back to the land of Hebrews. So, in verse 23, we see that the chief cupbearer does not remember Joseph. He forgets about Joseph. Now tell me, how is it possible? You meet a person who tells you supernatural things, the things that you saw in your dream, and how can you forget him? It's so humanly impossible. Now this is what I believe. When God looked at this situation, He decided Joseph cannot get out of prison right now. And so, the moment the chief cupbearer shook Joseph's hands, said bye, and said, see you tomorrow, got out of the prison gates, God struck him at the back of his head, boom, or selective memory loss. I believe that God struck the neurons on his brain that got excited when he was talking to Joseph. Every single neuron that stored memory about Joseph, God put them to sleep for 2 years. Why? Because God knew that 2 years is the time period required for Joseph to forget about his plan B and focus on plan A, which is achieving the purpose with which God created him and brought him to Egypt. In the book of Isaiah, chapter 49, verse 2, it says that we, you and me, each one of us, are like an arrow in the hands of the Lord. When a warrior takes an arrow and aims at something, he does not simply release the arrow from the bow. He makes sure that the arrow is pulled back before it goes forward. He pulls it back to the point that the exact tension, the exact pressure required to take the arrow forward to its particular destination is attained, and then he releases it. In Joseph's life, the pulling back took 2 years so that he was released into his destiny. Maybe in my life or in your life, the pulling back situation might take 5 years or 10 years or 15 or 20. We don't know. That is the hand of God. That is the Lord's hand. He's just pulling you back. A little more pressure, a little more tension, just so that when He releases you, you will reach exactly where you are supposed to reach. I hope that each one of us would reach the destination, the purpose with which God created us. God bless you.